The Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University.
What a pass. Giddy underneath for JRE. The reverse and the rookie-to-rookie action. SGA defended closely by Westbrook. Tough. Step back. Gets up the shot. Banks it in for the lead.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you live Sunday, August 6th, where for the first time in Oklahoma in like maybe a month, it is not hotter than the surface of the sun. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. I've got JD with me.
Fellas.
We've got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody.
Taylor Peterson is here.
Some may say these days of the NBA offseason have that dog in them.
Nick Crane was with us, but he is having some technical difficulties, so hopefully he will be back shortly and make his triumphant entrance. Just fitting for Nick to like be fashionably late and show up in the middle of a podcast, I feel like.
I thought you were going to say Nick putting the Nick in technical difficulties.
That would be nice. He's getting all of his restroom breaks out of the way now. That way he can sit with us the entire way.
Smart.
Very much so. Guys, not a lot of basketball stuff. Like, we've hit the point.
We're breaking down scrimmages from USA Select practice.
And it's like it's not official video either. It's like where's the Zapruder filming this bitch?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's where we're at.
480p. Yeah.
Little what do you call it, like a watermark of Steph Curry with a chef hat in the middle of the stream. That's what you got to do, man.
We're milking the almonds on this podcast.
It's rough.
I don't like that phrase.
And as we just mentioned, here he is.
Maybe.
Oh my goodness, there he is. Nicholas Crane is in the house. What's up, Nick?
Hello. Lots of technical difficulties.
I don't know. StreamYard is freaking out for me right now.
I think Taylor might be having problems too.
Yeah, Taylor
might be me.
Great start.
We are.
Maybe I'm the issue.
Speaking of Team USA Select Team, not Josh Giddey, goodness, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, and Chet Holmgren, both playing for the USA Select Team, apparently smacked around the A-team a little bit in scrimmages the other day. Then, I guess, got their butts kicked the following day in scrimmages. The videos are out there. Like, we've all probably seen some of the clips of J-Dub and Chet. Any takeaways? I mean, we're not going to Zapruder film this thing and break it down. And what does this mean? Did you see this? But just thoughts about seeing those dudes play and the opportunity to play for the select team.
Sounded like a lot of Cade hype. A lot of Cade and Jalen Duren hype. Which
did you watch the full videos, Taylor, by chance?
Like the full highlights or like the full game?
There's like
I did not watch the game footage.
There's like four like 15-minute videos on YouTube.
Okay, actually no, I did not watch that.
Okay,
I watched one of the highlight reels that had Dub with a really cool dunk. There's a couple plays from Chet in there.
The reason I asked is because I watched him last night because I was bored and I had nothing to do. And like there has been a lot of Cade Cunningham hype around the select team, which rightfully so. Cade's really good and went number 1 overall a few years ago. But every possession was like whoever got the rebound had to like stop the ball and turn around and hand it to Cade and let Cade run. Like it was very Luka and Dallas like to me. Like they didn't let Dub bring the ball up the court. Right? They didn't let anyone else bring the ball up the court. They didn't let anyone else initiate offense. It was strictly Cade all the time. So
it's because he was playing Luka.
Right.
Yeah. Like they asked him to do that, to play Luka in case that becomes a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr mentioned that in his availability, saying that he
I hadn't heard that, but it makes sense that Cade would get a lot of hype from the select team. Cade had the ball in his hands 90% of the time with the select team.
That makes sense.
Give Dub that role. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
My God. Dub looked the part. I think that's the takeaway from the clips that I've seen is like the swole Dub pick that came out like a few weeks ago. Not enhanced. That looks like the real deal. Like
he's jacked.
He looks jacked. He looks strong. He looks like a grown man out there on that court. He looked like he fit right in. And I think that, not that he looked small ever before, but like that's very exciting as a Thunder fan heading into next season.
There was a play in one of those highlight films where he drove in going left, Brandon Ingram guarding him. He just kind of lowered the shoulder and Brandon Ingram went out of bounds, and then J-Dub just like laid the ball in. It was like grown ass man type of move.
Bully ball.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think if he puts that into practice, again, not that he was timid or anything like that, but like if he kind of develops that edge of his game, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun to watch.
It's only his first NBA offseason too. So like who knows what he's gonna look like 2, 3, 4 years from now. It's
Mike
crazy.
Bibby.
Is he 22?
Mike Bibby.
I think he is 22, Silva.
Yeah, that's insane.
22, 23, something like that. He was a little bit older of a rookie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But
I didn't
just looked awesome.
Much of Chet. I didn't get to see much of Chet as far as I had heard through like reporting. I think maybe Ben Golliver or someone reported that like Chet was, having an impact consistently, but I haven't seen much Chet footage. I think I saw him I think he got like kneed in the balls by Mikal Bridges. That may have been the only clip I saw.
That's the only one.
That.
Just that.
Yeah. I saw him.
There's your Chet update for the week.
Yep. Chet kneed the balls.
I got to tell you guys, so
August.
Speaking of Chet and getting kneed, I was on my way to the movies Friday night, and my phone vibrated. And it was what are we call? I'm just gonna call them tweets, but it was the X app from Adrian Wojnarowski.
It just sounds wrong.
Yeah. Before I unlocked it, I just had like this moment where I was like, "Oh my god, what if I check this and it's another like Chet injury from the select team?" And like, I don't know why my brain went there.
You got triggered.
I guess it was around this time last year.
Yeah.
And I was just like, my God, man. Like, and
ready to get hurt again.
Obviously it wasn't, but I don't know. It went through my mind. So Chet, protect your weenie. Don't let Mikal knee you anymore. And let's get out of this offseason relatively healthy.
I did see he had I'm trying to remember who it was now. Was it Brunson who went in, drove to the rim, and Chet contested him? They called a foul because of course they would, but it was pretty awesome because again, it was like a lot of what we've talked about that we saw from him in Summer League, his ability to recover, still be able to, guard and protect passing lanes, and still be able to drop and recover and be able to contest at the rim. Very, very similar situation, which is really cool to see. And then he had a great interview because I am in the Loud and Loyal group Instagram DM that the Thunder had going, and they posted like one of his segments of his interview, and they're like, "So Chet, training camp is coming up, or it's right around the corner. What are your plans between now and then? Are you taking some time off? What are you thinking?" He goes, "I'll be in the gym." I was like, "Yeah, you will."
Yeah. I thought an interesting piece of these clips was Naz Reid playing next to Chet. Chet talked in Summer League about like it doesn't really matter if he's the 4 or the 5. It's more about you can't see my finger quotes, 4 or 5. And it's more about like who he's playing next to, what that allows him to do. And he like J Will was the guy in Summer League, Naz Reid was the guy here, where if you have a physical big that can hold down the paint, it allows Chet to be more mobile and play defense outside of the paint and get more on the perimeter. Though small sample size, I thought Chet looked better as the true 5 in these clips.
Yeah. I think we felt the same way at Summer League too, Nick.
Exactly.
Like, and the dichotomy of that is interesting. He says he likes having like Jay Will on the court, but the eye test tells me something very different.
Yeah.
Sorry, Justin. Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Yeah. He prefers it with another big guy. But I think, man, it's hard to deny, like, watching him just have the ability to, I think, have the freedom of movement. Maybe the responsibility makes him play a little differently. Whatever it is, he's a menace when he's out there kind of protecting the whole lane by himself. I think it allows him to show off some of that foot speed, that closing speed, and the ability to affect shots, whether or not he's actually blocking them. The ability to affect them is on full display.
I mean, it's a great thing that your 7-1 shot blocker has the ability to go play 4 next to another big and play all over the place. Like it's not a bad thing. It'll be a topic of conversation for a long time, like Anthony Davis, but it's a really good problem to have.
Yeah, and they're going to experiment with it a lot this summer. Speaking of USA Select Team and FIBA basketball, wanted to talk about this quote real quick. Tim Bontemps of ESPN said, quote, "The Canadians enter this tournament arguably with the single best player in the entire field in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's as good or better than Luka Doncic and anybody the American team has." Obviously, Nikola Jokic not playing FIBA basketball. I think a lot of people would say Luka is the best guy in FIBA this summer. But for Tim Bontemps to come out and say that, I would have to assume that means other people, in a sense, agree with him. For him to like that's kind of a limb to go out on if you're the only one that thinks that. You guys agree? Is Shai the best guy in FIBA this summer?
I wish I could agree. I do, because we as Thunder fans lived the Russ is overrated kind of thing for a very long time. So it's kind of nice to have like someone that people want to hype up more than they currently are. But
I don't know. Mickey Bear, whoever it was, says SGA is getting overrated. To which J-Dub responded, "Don't know ball."
Yeah,
Mickey
I'm
Bear.
just like, I'm appreciating the quote, but it's insane. It's insane.
How far off is it though?
That's what I was about. I mean, it's about to say
one of those guys made first team All NBA last year.
I was listening to the Wednesday show while I mowed the lawn, and y'all were debating where SGA fits on
Team Canada.
Yeah.
Now, just for the record, I was firmly SGA is the number one guy.
Yes, you were, because you're a blatant homer. No, but really, like Jamal
I don't know.
Murray,
The YouTube comments tell me I'm not a true Thunder fan.
This is true. You can't win them all. Jamal Murray's still really good, right? Like he's still a very good player, and he shares that same team. I don't know. It's a very lofty compliment. It's a fabulous compliment. He's not far off, to answer your question, Jacob. Like he's not far off. First team All NBA. It's not far off, right? Like he's in that conversation. I think it's really hard to pick against Luka. I think you can make the argument for Jamal Murray as well. Is anyone on Team USA better than Shai? No. I don't think so. But
I don't even think it's an argument for Team Canada. Like I was thinking about this when I did the same thing, Justin.
Okay.
I was listening in the car. Actually, I think it was yesterday, and I was thinking about this for tonight's podcast specifically. Like, I understand Murray had a huge role for the Denver Nuggets, the defending NBA champions, and that cannot go understated. But with that being said, to use Nick's favorite phrase that we tease him about now, in a vacuum, if the Thunder and Nuggets traded SGA and Murray straight up, I think the Nuggets got significantly better and the Thunder are not nearly as good. Would you guys disagree with that?
Probably.
Really?
I think
You think this Thunder team is better with Jamal Murray instead of Shai?
I mean, have we seen Jamal Murray as like the lead dog?
right.
I mean,
Can you imagine Shai next to Jokic?
if they both retired
Yes,
today,
exactly.
If they both retired today, Jamal Murray is miles ahead of Shai in terms of resume, what he's done. Shai's had one good season. Like let's
Jamal
remember
made
that.
an All-Star game.
Doesn't matter.
Championship with
Jamal
Jokic,
Murray has
the
been
best
the
player in
reason
league.
the Nuggets have had a lot of playoff success, and that's really all that
Disagree.
matters.
Jokic. Oh, I disagree.
Pull the stats.
I might
Murray's
even
highs have been
Brunson's.
very high.
Like, I think
Murray-
Brunson and Jamal are on the same level.
Whoa.
You are a Murray hater. Okay,
I
that's
kinda
where we're
agree
at.
with-
Yeah,
I kinda
I'm
agree
a
with you there,
Brunson
Taylor.
lover, but yes.
I agree with you there, Taylor. Jamal Murray's
gotta
highs
agree
have
here.
been very high. He just hasn't, and probably because he plays next to Jokic, reached those highs consistently. That's why what his career averages and points are probably around 20-ish. I could look really quick, but that's probably why he plays next to Jokic. We get it. But yeah, I would be so sad if we swapped SGA and Murray ultimately.
I would
I just
too.
think
I don't think
that
the
I would
Thunder
be
nearly
sad.
as good.
Yeah.
I think SGA is a super fun player. I think Murray's really good.
Damn good.
I think they're both good.
I think they're both good.
I think Nick's point on like we haven't seen Murray run his own team.
No.
It might not work, right? The flip
Yeah.
side of that coin
Yeah.
is
True.
also like a possibility.
We haven't seen Shai carry a team to the play. Jamal Murray didn't carry the Nuggets to the playoffs. We haven't seen Shai have success in the
Yeah.
playoffs either. What if 3 years from now we're saying, "Damn, Shai just can't do it in the playoffs"?
That's true.
It's-
Jamal's been insane in the playoffs.
Gee, like a
Yeah.
60 burger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So my question is, come FIBA tip off, is Shai like the clear alpha dog on that team? Or is it Jamal?
I said on Wednesday's show, if they're in a game
This is
against
difficult.
France and it's a 4-point game with 2 minutes to go,
Yeah. Who's got
the ball's in Shai's hands for Team Canada. It's give the
I
ball
think
to Shai and let him
so,
do his
too.
thing.
I thought Nick came in really hot with the Murray question, but now I'm like, I don't know for sure if it's a crunch time scenario like that. That's kind of Jamal's thing.
I think
I
the
think
big
Jamal's-
the
they
big
both
difference
have a
for me
claim, right?
is
Yeah.
Jamal's outside shot.
Yeah.
Like that's the massive separator for me.
It reminds
And-
me a little bit of
Shai's got the size, Shai's got the creativity.
But he's
I
also
think Shai's a better
willful, too.
defender.
Like we could see Shai with the ball in his hands and make the right play and give it to Jamal. So it's kind of like, that's a cheat answer.
You know
But
what? We're all wrong. Closing minutes, it's RJ Barrett, baby.
It's
Oh,
RJ
come
Barrett
on.
time.
My God.
Well, if it's
His
an
daddy is the
elimination
manager of-
game, it's Lou Dort.
Lou Dort.
Oh
ISO.
God.
What this reminds me of a little bit, what'll be interesting to see is like I distinctly remember, I think it was the 2010 FIBA World Cup where it felt like Kevin Durant ascended to another plane, right? Like he'd been good, he'd been invited to Team USA, like he'd been around, but that FIBA World Cup is like whoa. He went to a different place. I feel like the opportunity is there for SGA to do something similar. You're starting it hot with this quote, but like if he delivers on an international scale with Jamal Murray on his team against a weak USA squad, against Luka, like whoever else you
good
want to
point.
put out there, like he's going to have some superstar opportunities. Can he turn those into moments where he looks like, okay, like Shai's here, he's for real, like he's not going anywhere. He
if
deserves
he
to be
is,
in
the
that
narratives-
conversation.
The narratives coming out of FIBA, like into the regular season, be a little obnoxious. I think as Thunder fans, as much as we would love it, like maybe a little unrealistic. It's probably a better term there rather than obnoxious. But I've been thinking about that as well, Justin.
Yeah.
So, and I know Silva was like 11 whenever that happened that Justin's talking about.
I
Shut
was.
up, Nick.
I've got some hard hitting questions that I need to ask you guys.
Oh God.
If
Okay.
championship game comes around and it's USA Canada, who are you cheering for?
Oh, Canada, it's not close. Shai, Lou, free healthcare. Like,
Oh my god.
I thought you were about to start singing the Canadian.
What about the
anthem,
rest of
Still
you?
Canada.
oh, Canada.
I'm gonna root for Shai to drop 50 and USA to win by 1.
I think I like that.
I don't know.
That's fair.
No.
fair. America.
Now,
Nope.
since Jacob's the heavy,
I don't think we'll have this problem, to be clear. I don't think USA
Yeah.
is sniffing the championship game, but
they're not great. What if one of Dub or Chet gets called up due to injury?
Oh,
Jacob?
then
Oh yeah, it changes everything.
changes everything for me personally.
Still 2 Thunder players to 1.
oh my
What if
god.
they both get called? What if they both get called up? It's Dort and Shea versus
Then
Dub
if,
and
if
Chet.
that happens, you guys will appreciate this, especially Taylor and Nick. Is it the Kelsey brothers
Yeah.
that their mom, they both played in the Super Bowl, and their mom had like the split jersey.
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 That's this
That'd be
guy
Jacob.
during the championship game.
Unbelievable.
I love it. I love it.
Just
That's
want everyone
nuts.
to have fun.
On this topic, thinking of the FIBA field, which it sounds like most everyone on here says Luka is probably the best guy in the field, but Shai is right there, maybe number 2. Where's Josh? Is he top 10? When you think of all the USA team guys, when you think of all the Team Canada guys,
Yeah. I mean,
when you think of the
USA
French guys,
as good as because I don't want to discount them because in their roles in the NBA they're really good, but like Josh Hart, come on, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Like
Who's the
there's
starting
multiple guys like that on
It's
Team
basically
USA.
just that old Villanova team is what Team USA is this year.
Okay. Yeah, who's starting? It's
follow.
Brunson, Ingram.
Brunson,
Ant.
Ingram, Paulo, Ant. That was a
good
big
God.
one. He
Yeah.
threw Ant. He being Steve Kerr threw Ant in there day 2, and imagine that they were way better. And then who was that last one?
I think it's Triple J.
Mikal.
Or was it Mikhail? I think it was Triple J instead of Paulo then Tayler.
Oh, gotcha. Good point. Forgot
That is
about
an
Triple J.
interesting roster.
Hey,
I'm glad he's
I'm
healthy.
also going to say it. I watched all of like those 15-minute videos. Austin Reeves got cooked. he did not look like he should be out there. Like they should have taken Dub over Austin. Is that hot?
No.
No.
Okay.
He has the
They want
Lakers.
viewers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably part of it. The Lakers propaganda machine continues on, folks. But is Josh top 5, top 10, top 7? I think Team
Big 10.
Australia like has a squad.
Yeah.
Very much so.
9 NBA guys, including Jack.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. Jack White, Thunder player.
They got Matisse out there. They've got who's the kid from Dallas? Josh Green.
Yep.
Is that
Josh
right? He's pretty
Australian?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've got
don't
a
know anything.
team.
They've got. I jotted down the.
They
these
could have
notes
had
the other
Ben
day.
Simmons, but
They have Giddy, Patty Mills, Matisse, Joe Ingles, Jock Landale, Josh Green, Deli, Xavier Cooks, Jack White, Dyson Daniels.
Oh, I forgot about
That's
Dyson.
a-
Daniels.
yeah,
They got a squad.
solid.
They're going to
team.
be good. They're going to be really good.
Hey, the next World Cup, not World Cup, I'm sorry, Olympics, 2 years away after Dyson and Josh Green and all those other guys like get a little bit older. That's a really good team.
Very much so.
I-
yeah.
Maybe this is a hot take. I think Josh is the best player on the Australian team, even though there's 9 or 10 NBA guys.
No, I don't
Right.
think it's close.
You're right.
I mean, who's number 2?
Patty Mills.
If we're looking at like right
I mean,
now,
Patty
is it
in
Patty?
international plays bonkers.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
legit.
yeah, but he's just so old now.
I don't care. He's still
I'm just saying, like,
bunkers
number two.
international play.
We'll see.
Jock Landale, Houston.
But I think
Rockets
Josh is
starting
the
center.
best player on Team Australia.
FIBA Patty Mills is like bubble Jamal Murray.
Yep.
It's like Olympic Mellow.
To
Olympic
my
man.
earlier point.
Yes.
All right, let's take our first break of the night, guys. On the other side, well, you'll just find out what we're talking about whenever we get there. We'll be back. All right, we are back. Guys, I had an idea for an exercise we could do tonight. We're going to split it up into 2 parts. So the first part is I want us to act as if we have the ability to go back in time 12 months to early August of 2022. And we drop in on a Sunday night pod and talk to ourselves. And we say, hey, you're not going to believe this, but this is what's going to happen this season. And we're going to tell ourselves, we kind of revisited how we felt about going into last season whenever we reviewed the headlines with Nick and Justin and I. Was that last week, I think? 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. We weren't very high going into the season. And now it's kind of like, it kind of blew our minds. What I think in the moment, like living through it, it was like, okay, they're still growing. They're getting better. Yeah. But when you take a step back and you look at that season, like it blew our expectations out of the water. So first half of our activity tonight is if we could go back 12 months, drop in on a podcast with ourselves and tell ourselves, hey, this is the crazy stuff that happened this season. You won't believe it. It's going to shock you. And then we told ourselves, what would some of those things be? What would some of the things that you would tell yourself 12 months ago that you would not believe about this NBA season?
I would, to myself, I would say, hey, asshole, get ready to not watch Chet play basketball for a year.
That's a big one.
But get ready to not see Chet on the floor, and the Thunder will make the play-in.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
I think, like,
And they'll have
obviously
the runner-up to Rookie of the Year.
Like the
Yeah.
Chet injury, obviously huge news, but there's no way that you get that news and followed up with they're going to make the play-in, and that like would be anywhere where our heads were at a year ago.
I expected the worst, honestly,
Yeah.
after that.
I mean, at this point last year, we didn't know about the Chet injury, so that would
Mhm.
obviously be
Yep.
very shocking. But even with the Chet injury, I think play-in was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like if Chet can come in and like they can really kind of, you know, take a little bit of a jump and like make the play-in, like that's huge. To do that without Chet, I mean, honestly, like taking a fresh look at it backwards, massive. It's massive.
And even with, like, I think about, sorry, Jacob, I think about when we were kind of going through this process last year, and we're talking about this team, even with Chet, we weren't expecting him to win a lot of games. I think we thought the West was going to be much more strong than it ended up being. And so I had a very similar, I think you guys mentioned two of my predict or not predictions, shocking items, items that would shock me. I guess 12 months from now, or 12. I'm sorry.
Items that would shock me. The plug-in, a down
I
power
am,
line.
a little
Taylor learns how to
distracted.
speak in
I
2023.
am. Yes, exactly. I had that Dub would pretty unanimously be considered the second best rookie in his class by the end of the season, as well as the Thunder would win 40 games, especially without Chet, like you mentioned, Justin. And then the other one I had was SGA would make first team All NBA. Like it's not a surprise to me that he would make an All NBA team, but like pretty easily.
Oh,
No, that's
Taylor, it would be a surprise to you.
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
I listened back to the headlines episode from last year, and
Yeah.
you said, yeah, he makes an all NBA team because he got traded away from the Thunder and got on a championship contending team. And even if that
Perfect.
happened, at best, it would be third team all NBA.
That's a Taylor quote.
That's
Oof.
receipts right there.
Yeah.
Oof.
And then Nick said that headline came from Ballsack Sports. So
I mean,
That,
really,
that's the big
we
one
were
for me, though,
haters.
is like the SGA. Like, if I
Yeah.
could go back 12 months from now, I was the one that made the Shai All-Star bet. And like some people, Nick was
Yeah.
the one that ended up taking it. But some of you guys were like, I don't know about that one.
It doesn't make us haters either. It just
No, it's just this time last year, we were still having the conversation of, is Shai going to end
they
up
have
being
the
like a
alpha?
1B? Yeah, is he the alpha? Is he number 2 to Chet?
How many games? they
Those
sit out?
questions are
Yeah.
answered. If I could go back 12 months, I would say, you want to be shocked? Shai is like
that dude.
hands down first team all NBA. Like it's
Yeah.
he's got a pretty sizable gap on second team all NBA. Like it was that season for him. Like that would shock me.
Yep.
Even like I was really high going into last season on him personally. That one blows me away.
I've got one that's like not near as exciting as those, but when I think about this exercise, it's like the Thunder fans that come out of the woodworks when they start getting good. They're texting you questions, and it's like, wow, you haven't watched this team in years.
Why has Percy got so many draft picks?
I would have been shocked if you told me Isaiah Joe and Trae Young will play the same number of games, and Isaiah Joe will make more three-pointers while being 7% better from beyond the arc.
Isaiah Joe is a big one for me too.
I'm
Nick.
going to
Yeah,
be honest, Nick.
that's
That
nuts.
shocks me right now. You don't even need to
That
go
was a
back
hell
in
of a
time a
stat,
year.
Nick.
My other question would be, who's Isaiah
Here.
Joe?
Yeah, good point. Honestly, honestly,
I think he wasn't on the team until like October.
Great
right?
point.
We watched him
Great
play in
point.
summer league, just firing away,
Yeah.
just taking a ton of shots.
Yeah. Hey,
Neat
Isaiah
mention that
Joe's
one
going to
as
be your
well.
sixth man. He's going to
Great.
do some shit down in Dallas you didn't think was
He's-
humanly
yeah.
possible.
He's going to waltz in to the American Airlines Center and light it on fire. insane. Yeah, he's a huge storyline. I would say, like, along with, we've touched on Chet, we've touched on J-Dub, but like the other two draft picks, J. Will and Oos, like a year from now, you're going to be looking at both of them as like legitimate dudes on this roster, like rotation guys. I don't know that I would have believed you a year ago that it appears, again, right now, very early, 1 year in, not a lot of sample size, but like it appears OKC might have hit on all four of those prospects, at least as of now. That would be pretty shocking to me, because I think that J. Will at the time was like, yeah, I don't know, like he takes a lot of charges. He's fun. He seems like a cool guy. He's got the same name as the other Jalen Williams. Like that's kind of all you'd have to say about it. And Oos, it was like, yeah, I don't know. Like I have no idea. Like it's
I didn't
a
want
gamble.
Oos at all.
Another
on the
project.
roster, to be honest.
And it's still probably a gamble, but like it feels like there's some stuff there that it's interesting to think about how we felt about those four guys a year ago compared to, I think, how they're viewed now.
Agreed. See, and I think that one's up there. I know I mentioned it earlier, but in my word vomit and distractions and dogs in the background, babies crying, and about
Babies. You got multiple babies now?
baby. I hope not.
Not sure.
We'll keep you posted.
Oh,
Mari,
God.
this is the Mari show now.
That's right.
Taylor, you are not the father.
My gosh.
What a show. I think that show was discontinued, by the way. Unfortunately.
Pouring out for Maury Povich.
That's
canceled?
Right. But Dub. Him being considered
Maury's canceled. Jerry Springer's dead. This is why the world's going downhill, man.
And here we are in the offseason of the NBA. The
Still have Judge
uncontested.
Judy.
Yeah, that's right.
Judge
Yeah, she's
Judy.
still going strong.
Like that's your girl, Silva.
She is.
that
Judge
a
Judy
wink?
and Doris Burke.
Did you
Sounds
just
Doris
wink?
Burke.
I
That
was
was the one.
No, my contact's been messed up all day.
Oh!
But it worked out. And also, I dressed up
Contacts were
as Judge
messed
Judy
up.
for Halloween last year.
Oh, I forgot about that.
God.
Hey, speaking of dressing up as people, Silva, when are we getting the Poku draft photo?
Yes, the
That's a
people
great
want to
question.
know.
Yeah,
You
I
got to
kinda-
pay that off soon.
I do. I forgot about that. I'll get some people together and I'll get that scheduled.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm still
people need
disappointed.
I can't wait to tweet the side by side of that.
So good.
I got one for you guys. We've kind of touched on Dub,
Yes.
but to go back 12 months from now and say, hey, as the Thunder are making their playoff push to get into the postseason, after the All-Star break, J-Dub is going to average 19, 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 55, 43, 88 splits.
Arguably the second best player on the team. Again,
Yeah, that's absurd.
you can
I
argue
mean-
it, but
Nuts.
What?
and the
It's
second
nuts.
best. Before I completely derail this, the fact that I just continue to be surprised. Like he's pretty easily the second best rookie in his class, given that Chet obviously didn't play.
Crazy.
Shocking.
Not necessarily close. Here, we got some fan ones coming in the chat here. This one, J-Dub breaks his face, Oos breaks his hand, SGA gets COVID, Chet doesn't play a game, and the season was awesome.
It's a good point.
Facts.
Yeah, that's a good summary.
I've
I
got
forget
one that's-
about J-Dub who broke his face? Was it Jaden McDaniels?
I forget. It was like
I think it
game
was-
one, wasn't it?
It was game one
Yeah,
in
game one.
Minnesota. I don't
Yeah.
remember who did it though.
Yeah.
I think it
It wasn't
wasn't
Rudy,
Jaden.
was it?
I think it was Jaden McDaniels, which
Okay.
makes him breaking his hand at the end of the year.
It's
Just
pretty poetic.
poetic.
is.
It's karma
It is.
at its finest.
One-
Son of a
one-
bitch.
This one might be cheating a few months. I think this was probably more of like a, if you heard this in October of last year, it'd be shocking. Maybe not August. If you told me in October last year that in 12 months, Trey Mann's exit interview was him saying he had a down season and that he might not be part of the future of this team, I would have been pretty dang surprised given all the
Yeah.
hype and like he's grown, he's stronger. Everybody's saying he's the standout in camp, and then that.
Yeah, we were all super high on Trey Mann heading into last season.
Very. We had some takes on the Bets pod last year with Trey.
He was a popular bet
Six
subject.
man.
Yeah. Call me our bet that he would average like 12, 3-3, or maybe even less than 12. And I was like, oh, easy. No problem.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Did not happen. Did not happen. I think that goes to show, like, that's what's so hard, right? A lot can change in a season, especially when these guys are young. Like I said earlier, like it feels like OKC hit on all 4 of those guys. That can change very dramatically by this time next year. We could be saying OKC hit on 2 of those guys, maybe 1 of those guys. Like, who knows? Who knows?
Let's use this as a lesson. When cuts happen on this roster and everyone's up in arms, like, you had to cut 5 guys and you chose this guy as one of them. It's always a bigger picture than you think it is. I'm not saying that's not me alluding to Trey Mann being cut. That's more of just like when somebody you like on the roster gets cut.
Yeah.
And somebody you don't like stays, things change quickly.
Yep.
Totally. I don't know if this counts either, but if you told me 12 months ago that Micic would be on the Thunder, I'd be pretty.
I would have told you to shut. I would have like kicked him off the StreamYard.
Yeah.
I would have closed out the stream if you brought up Micic 12 months ago.
Jacob had that banned from the podcast for a minute. It was over.
Yeah. You weren't allowed to talk about him.
No.
Banned word.
He's here, baby. He's here.
Yeah,
He's here with a shoulder injury.
What are we going to
braces.
be? What are we going to be saying about him in 12 months?
He sure does fit in good in Denver.
Oh my god.
No,
I can't believe he's 6th man of the year.
I wish Kaysen got more minutes.
When is he going to get rid of the braces?
This is good.
It's the Micic thing is such a wild card, man. Like, not to get us down a rabbit hole here, but it's such a wild card.
Totally.
Like, he's got the experience by far, right? He offensively is really good. The defensive side is a question. We know Daigneault likes to play guys that he can trust defensively, which feels like Kaysen Wallace. Now, it's not saying you have to play one instead of the other, but it's just an interesting little back and forth there with the guy with experience versus the dude that was born with the dog in him. You know?
I have a feeling that Micic is going to play a lot early. Like, I think when you sign that contract, there's a lot of conversation about role and
Totally.
I think
I'm sure.
he's going to have to like produce to keep it, but I'd be shocked if opening night he's not playing a pretty dang decent role.
I almost feel like, Nick, and if you think I'm way off base, please tell me, but it almost feels like Micic comes in and has to kind of like lose his spot because of his experience, where Kaysen has to come in and earn a spot.
100%. That's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
You mean it's not going to be like Gabriel Deck?
That's kind of what I think.
Pissed off all of Argentina, Justin.
honest.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Poku?
Should we touch on Poku? Is he
You could.
shocking?
He played man. I always go back. I don't know if you guys remember this. Maybe I'm just a degenerate who like remembers all of these games.
Yes.
The game in Cleveland. There's only one game in Cleveland last year.
148-point game, right? Was that last year?
Look at Justin.
They said it was like a scoring record for a regulation game.
Really?
I think that was the Knicks game, was it not?
Let's see who.
I think it was Knicks last year.
Who's the
and then-
degenerate?
Am I right?
102, 110
There
was the
hasn't
final
been
of
a
that game.
Cavs game that scored 140
2 years
since
ago.
2017-18 with Melo.
All right.
And I remember
got
that
nothing.
game. I was
I
like,
got
they turned the
nothing.
corner.
I got nothing.
Here you go. I got the stats for you from that game. That was 110-102, a Cleveland Cavaliers win. But down the stretch, Alexei Pokusevsky played 34 minutes, 6 of 14 from the floor, 3 of 3 from 3, 16 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping.
That was the one for me where it was just like, holy, like he's put it together.
Yeah.
He was awesome. They had him guarding either Jared Allen or Evan Mobley like the entire game, and he was freaking awesome at it. That was the one for me. So I'd be a little shocked, Justin, to I mean, if you
hear that stat line.
Yeah.
Especially to do it against like Jared Allen and Evan Mobley.
I wonder
Like,
if
right.
I wonder if
Another
12
news: Darius
12
Baisley
months-
played 26 minutes that game.
Jeez.
No wonder they lost.
I wonder if 12 months younger Jacob would have said, "Yeah, Moses Brown put up those numbers. It's just empty stats," or if you actually would have like thought something of it.
He was all aboard the Poku train.
Would you have said, "Yeah, that'll come in mid-March when the Thunder are tanking and Poku's playing 48 minutes
Yeah.
a night"?
It's
Or
probably
early
something like
October.
that. I've always been a Poku believer, and I was never a Moses believer.
Moses Brown.
Brown.
Interpret that as you will.
Another one I was thinking of that on a similar note, I guess we could say that JRE might not be the next Nick Collison-esque figure in Oklahoma City.
It's a good point. We would
Yeah.
kind of prefer.
I believed
J.
it
Will.
too.
I
Yeah.
believed you.
I believed it to an extent, of course, but he was like awesome as a rookie.
That
He's like,
rookie
"Oh, this
year was
guy's-"
awesome, man.
He was like, "Oh, this guy's clearly going to be." He's
Another
his
great
shots-
case study of how
Yes.
much can change in a year.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like, oh, his shot's going to get better.
Yeah.
I saw him in summer league, and I was like, this guy's moving on defense like crazy. He's in great shape, and then
That's all I keep thinking about. Honestly, every
Yeah.
time I start to get too excited about J. Will, that's where my head goes. It's like,
me too.
I've been down this rabbit hole before. Like it can happen so fast. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
they're very different players. And there's other reasons why I think JRE doesn't have what J. Will has. But like it can change that fast. It can go from like, man, J. Will's awesome. He's such a great fit. He's gonna play no matter what. To like, oh, better learn Chinese, buddy.
Let me jot down that timestamp really quick.
Any other ones
And
that
we
you
have
would
a
go
new
back
sounder.
and tell yourself from last year?
I would say the teams that didn't make the play-in, like the Mavericks specifically, come to mind. Just like
Yeah.
this is probably a me personal 12 months ago fantasy. Someone saying the Thunder are going to make the playoffs or the play-in, but the Mavs are not. I'd be like, ha, good one,
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, I agree. I had a bet. I don't think it got used on our preseason bet pod, but Luka was like my MVP candidate. Like Luka and Dallas, I thought
I
were
think he was
ready
the
for a jump.
favorite.
Yeah.
I think he was.
And then they traded for Kyrie instead.
Mm.
Not that Kyrie's to blame for their season last season,
Mm.
but still,
He can blame for this season though.
this is
Well,
true.
If you're desperate enough to go make the move for Kyrie, I can't think it kind of
Exactly.
tells the story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
I got a Kyrie levitating over the Brooklyn Bridge comment from Silva.
That was one of
Wasn't
my
too far
favorite
off.
quotes.
Let's hit our second break of the night. On the other side, we'll continue this activity, but with a twist. All right, we are back. So we just did, if we could go back 12 months in time, what would we tell ourselves before the season started that would shock us? Let's do the same activity, but let's act as if on this podcast right now, 5 more people popped up on the StreamYard, and it's us from 12 months from now. At the end of this coming season, what do they come back and tell us that's shocking about this upcoming season?
Taylor, how did you have 2 babies in 12 months? No, I think I got to go back to Micic. We talked about him a little bit before, but like he's such an enigma right now, and like I don't know what to make of him on this roster. That if future me popped up and was like, guess what? Micic won Rookie of the Year or Sixth Man of the Year or made All Rookie Team or any of those things, I would feel pretty shocked right now, just because I don't know where to put this. I don't know how to feel about him. That him being this kind of like big success, I think would feel shocking.
The way Jacob, the way you phrase that, like when you intro this segment, isn't necessarily how I jotted out some of these answers. Like, I don't think that these are some things that us 12 months from now would be coming into this podcast and saying.
Taylor misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah, right. But I would be shocked if any of these 12 months from now, present day, I'd be shocked. And I think one of the ones that stands out to me I think about the West. We've talked about how stacked it is. It seems very competitive. I was even surprised last season when the Thunder made the play-in. To kind of go back to the previous segment. So if me 12 months from now were to come on this podcast and say that the Thunder got home court advantage in the playoffs, aka they finished top 4 in the West, I'd be shocked.
That'd be a big one, dude.
Yep.
It'd be a massive
But like,
jump.
how realistic is that? Is that?
I mean, I'm not going to say it's like an impossibility. You look at some of the over under numbers for games next season, and the Thunder at like 9th or 10th. But there's like 4 or 5 other teams that are only a game up on
tight.
Right.
Tight. If it's as compressed as it was last year, the difference between play-in and home court could be a game or two.
Yeah,
Right.
like it wasn't much at all last year.
Yep.
And
you know,
I think about some of these teams like the Lakers, or I mean, gosh, however you want to throw out there, if they have injury trouble or whatever it may be. I mean,
Yep.
if the Thunder are gelling and everything's going right, I mean, I think this is one that could be kind of like the J-Dub one that we talked a lot about here in the previous segment.
That's fair.
Again, I will still be shocked, but I think that's a good comparison.
I think mine, I don't know, there's a few ways I could go with this. I'll go with the theme we've kind of had running for the past few weeks, is if I popped back up on this podcast and I was like, hey, it's you from 12 months in the future. You guys should probably talk about the Thunder having 2 All-Stars because it's going to happen. Like that one, even though I think there are like all-star caliber players on this team that can get there in their career, if you told me that's happening next year, my assumption is it's Josh, maybe Dub.
Ooh,
but my assumption would be Josh. And that, I mean, kind of changes everything. If Josh is an all-star level player at 21, next to Chet, next to Dub, next to Shai, like, I mean, it's not pushing this thing forward faster than it needs to because, like, they're just the front office.
It's still organic, right?
It's like, holy shit! Like, they've got the train up and running, and it's like zooming down the tracks. Like we're barreling in the right direction.
It took. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but like thinking back to Thunder 1.0, it took Russ like 5 years, 4 or 5, I think, before he made an all-star team. I want to say it was like 2012, maybe 13. But regardless, like that's a good, I think, again, reference point, right? You had KD, everybody knew he was an all-star. Like he ascended to that plane early. It took Russ a while. I don't think we always remember that like early part of his journey. So for anyone on this team to make it that soon would be incredibly impressive.
Mine would be trade deadline related. Everyone talks about the consolidation trade. I don't think it's that one, but I think there's a consolidation trade. Thinking like expiring salary, like if Oladipo is around, second round picks, and a Trey Man, a Poku, like somebody that's in need of a contract that, you know, Presti is extracting value before it's too late. I think that kind of deal happens at the deadline, and it's for a player that actually moves the needle in the playoffs. I don't know if that means they won a series, but like maybe they push a team to 7 as like a 6-7 seed. But I could 100% see like a legitimate trade happening at the deadline. So I guess if I can legitimately see it happening, it wouldn't surprise me if I said it in 12 months. But that's my
saying
answer.
Though. So that kind of ties into one of mine that I have here, and I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and include the draft and say even 12 months from now, this would still surprise me. Like, to Nick's point, it would not be surprising to see a consolidation trade, but to see a consolidation trade that consists of multiple firsts plus a player, and again, I'm just using this player as an example, but a player of the caliber of Lou Dort, 12 months from now, if I were on this podcast and I was telling Nick and I, hey, Lou Dort and I don't know, Ousmane Dieng and, you know, multiple firsts were traded for a win now player. that's really going to move the needle for the Thunder, I'd be very surprised and pretty shocked. So that was one that I had.
That one would shock me. I would be less shocked if future us from 12 months ago came on this podcast and said, you guys should probably be talking about the number 2 pick in the draft again. And it's because the Thunder did the consolidation trade to move up.
Yeah.
This perceived weaker draft at the top, Thunder identify their guy and they push their chips in the middle to go get that guy. That wouldn't surprise me as much as making a win now, player type of move.
Agreed. Hey,
Sylvia,
Ron Harper in OKC. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
You did it again. It's Ron Holland.
Oh, Holland. I did.
Ron Harper, Bulls legend.
Every pod, every single pod.
Legend, Ron Harper.
If they draft him, we're buying Tayler a Ron Harper jersey.
Yes.
I have 2. I have one I have one that's nuts and one that's kind of.
I have a hard time not just doing bizarre things for this.
Yeah.
question.
My first one that's more tame is I would be shocked if Trey Mann averaged more minutes than Isaiah Joe, Micic, and I don't know if I want to throw Kaysen in. I'm going to throw Kaysen in to make it.
That would be, I'd be like,
shocked.
what happened?
I'd be shocked if Trey Mann got more minutes than those guys, I think. Which kind of says how I feel about his future with this Thunder team, I think.
If that happened, would that be because Trey Mann was playing so well or because the other 3 were just very underwhelming?
I think it'd be it would be Trey Mann playing very well, but it would be like a guy like Isaiah Joe, just his shot falling off. It
did late in the season.
It did.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
So if that's the tame one, what's the hot one?
Oh, SGA finishes higher than Jason Tatum in MVP voting.
Jesus. So he's winning it?
I like it.
No, I don't think Tatum's gonna
number 3 though.
Yeah,
Tatum 5,
easily
SGA
top
4.
5. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I like that one. What if it was we come back to this podcast 12 months from now and say, well, the Thunder had 3 guys who averaged 20.
My God. I mean, they weren't that far off.
I don't.
You're walking
man.
that back.
That's a lot to average.
It is
a lot
Because now Chet's here and he's gonna,
That's a lot.
that's a lot. How many times has that even happened?
That's what I want to know.
Not a lot.
I don't even know how to look that stat up.
Right.
By the way, Tatum's
That would
winning
be
MVP next
crazy.
year, so if Shai's ahead of him, that
Hey.
My hot take, I don't know if he's ever gonna win an MVP.
you're a hater. Just like Taylor hates Jamal Murray, you hate
I'm
Jason
not a
Tatum.
hater.
I'm not a hater.
I actually have Luka as my MVP favorite. Tying this back to the commentary from earlier in the podcast, but
So-
those are takes we will save for our upcoming preseason bets podcast.
Here's
Okay.
one. Alexei Pokusevsky becomes Bleacher Report's favorite player as he leads the Los Angeles Lakers towards home court advantage in the playoffs.
That feels AI generated.
That is insane.
This is where this question sends me down some rabbit
Well,
holes. in
so
my
that
brain.
gets you close to. I love our listeners, but Matt, for this one, you can go to hell. He said, "Future Jacob comes back to tell everyone how much he loves Rudy Gobert after he's traded to the Thunder for Poku."
Oh man.
That's my hell.
very Kurt's
Now I want it to
sound drop.
happen.
As much as I love Rudy Gobert.
Such a good sound drop.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, Rudy Gobert and I both feel the same way about hitting 3-pointers. That's all I know.
What a
That
quote.
man was
What a quote.
A little out of
Yeah.
pocket on that one.
a little bit.
Any others, guys? 12 months from now,
Oops.
the ones that we're
So
saying, wow, this one shocked us.
I did have one more. I'm curious if you guys think this is shocking or kind of where it actually lands on the shock factor scale. But if 12 months from now, kind of similar
The
to how
shock
we talked about
factor
the-
scale.
Yeah.
Ooh, we
shock
gotta
factor.
expand on that.
Quantify
Yeah, tell me, how is that
Yeah,
a 1 to
how's the
10 or 1 to
scale?
5?
Yeah.
No, it's
wait.
not numbers. It's like
Now we have
the
to scale
car
the
battery
scale,
and the jumper
scale.
cables connected
So
to your
like-
nipples versus like,
Like
Static
one.
electricity.
yeah.
If we're talking one, we're talking like the Thunder won the championship. If we're talking
No, we're talking
10,
about
it's
actual
like,
electricity, Taylor. Jesus.
what? That's a,
You can't even see my hand in the frame. That's how far it went over Taylor's head. The
On a
one is
scale of-
like the blanket shocks you a little bit.
Yeah.
And the 10 is the terrorists have your nipples connected to the car battery and they're shocking you to get information.
I was trying.
So
to
where
tie
does this one fall?
into the NBA.
God.
That's my question for you guys. I'm going to have you all answer it. I'm not going to answer my own question,
You
Jacob.
derailed Taylor.
I'm ready. Okay.
Chet versus Wimby, kind of similar to Dub. Like, again, 12 months 12 months ago, if we were talking about Dub as the second best player in his rookie class, I'd be pretty surprised. If 12 months from now, we're considering Chet to be like quite a ways above Wimby and he's won Rookie of the Year, where would that fall on the shock factor scale?
The Shaq factor?
The Shaq factor.
I would say
you said quite a ways above Wemby and won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
What would be more shocking? Chet being above Wemby and winning Rookie of the Year, like I'm not gonna say significantly, but like by a decent margin, or Chet not making an all-rookie team?
The
Probably.
former.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's probably the same because I think for either to happen, an injury happens. If Chet is far and away, Wemby got hurt. If Chet's not on one, Chet got hurt.
What if they're both healthy? Which one's more likely? Which one's less likely?
It's not possible.
Nick's
Chet
brain
not
just
making
went
an
out with that
all-rookie team,
attitude.
I'd be
Chet being leaps and bounds above Wemby
Sounds
and winning Rookie of the
ridiculous.
Year and it not being close on the shock factor value, that's like using the toaster as a bath bomb.
It's like the time I tried to
is
change
that
a
below
smoke
what you said
detector
before?
and didn't realize it was hardwired into the house and went to unconnect the wire and went up on a ladder, mind you, and went like, "Gah," like I felt it like in my liver.
That's a sounder.
56-46. JD, get it down.
Full of sounders tonight. Yeah, that's up there on the shock factor.
Such an off-season pod.
Incredible.
That's wild.
Wild.
That one would be that'd be insane. Silva actually did get the timestamp too. Or golden.
I felt like I had another one, but it's gone now. It's gone.
You lost it.
Yeah.
Too much talk of electricity.
Yeah. And yeah.
And Shaq
What would it-
factors.
We've talked about a lot of positive ones. Are there any shocking
Yeah.
negative ones?
Yeah.
Nick's
Would it
got those
shock
already.
you, or how much would it shock you if 12 months from now we're saying, I can't wait to see Kaysen actually play for the Thunder this year and not with the blue like he did most of last season? Like Ousmane Dieng 2.0.
That would shock me quite a bit. For where he was drafted, and I think the
10 versus 11?
there were unique circumstances with Oos, I feel like. It wasn't like if the Thunder didn't draft J-Dub and they didn't have that like trading tomfoolery that happened and they just drafted Oos straight up at 11 or 10 or whatever it was. I can't handle the comments. right now. I would feel differently about Oos than I do now. Like I don't view him as that pick, if that makes sense. Like I view J-Dub as that pick because like Presti all but said as much. Like we drafted J-Dub with our own pick to make sure we still got him if the trade fell through.
Yep.
I feel like Oos was the stretch in that scenario. I
So-
feel like Kaysen is the J-Dub. Like he was the guy that they wanted to go make sure they got their hands on. And I would be very surprised if he ended up like Oos.
Oddly specific question. Does Kaysen play over or under 5 times the amount of NBA games as G League games?
I was told there'd be no math.
we have to get that to be a
Um,
sounder at this
5
point.
times is very specific.
So if he plays 5 G League games, he'd have to play 25.
Yep.
If he
that's
plays
a
10
lot.
G League games, he'd have to play 50. Give me the over.
Yeah.
I think I'd take the over too.
So you think like that means the max number of games he could play in the G League is
A handful,
15.
Yeah.
right?
A handful. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Speaking of no
I
math,
don't know.
he played
Exactly.
5 times more than a handful of games.
Which means not very much G League games. Is my point.
Oh, you're such a landman.
I'm taking you over there. Also,
Correct.
Kaysen seems
we
like
do not,
more ready than Oos, than an Oos type.
Kaysen seems like
He's more ready for sure.
we're gonna fire off takes on Kaysen Wallace before he's played a single NBA game. Kaysen just has the feel of a guy that's like never gonna make an all-star team, but like maybe he's never gonna average like oh my gosh.
Matt Noonan in the chat. Shaq Factor is Fear Factor starring Shaq.
Kaysen just seems like a guy that's like never going to average over 20, never going to make an all-star game, but just going to be a solid contributor for his entire career. Like, I feel like that's kind of where we're headed with Kaysen.
Yeah.
Would you be shocked if 12 months from now you're saying, man, Kaysen might be an all-star in a couple of years?
Would that shock me?
Yes,
Like, a little bit, yeah.
Yes.
Can we not? Can we not do that? Because this team might already have like 4 future All Stars. So can we just chill out on the amount of All
Hey,
Stars?
it's not a bad thing to have.
Half the all-star roster in 5 years is going to be Thunder players.
Yeah.
What if we came back, like someone hopped on this pod from 12 months in the future and said, hey, you guys talk a lot about Dub and Shai and Josh and Chet being like the big 4, like the pillars that are going to push this thing forward. You need to add the 5th in there, which is Ousmane Dieng. Like he is undoubtedly one of the pillars of this team moving forward.
Or is it Justin Edwards?
Is it who?
Okay, too early. Never mind.
Dang.
We'll reconvene in 6 months.
Draft guy.
Draft names I don't know about yet.
I don't think that would shock me. I really don't.
See, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if it would surprise me, but shock me, not necessarily because I knew who you were going to mention before you.
Would it shack you?
It may shock me. I'm not sure it would shock me.
It's
Being shacked sounds way worse than getting shocked.
Gross.
It's a great point.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, these chats.
Off the rails.
I don't know if the comments are off the rails or just Connor is off the rails.
Yeah. Could just be Connor.
Was Connor the one that won our flag?
Yeah.
Yeah. Connor got the flag and then just said, screw
Burn
it. I'm
it.
going off
Burn
the
it all.
comments section. I love it.
Yeah.
Any other negative ones? Like, what if it's the Thunder got the 6th best odds again?
Via Houston.
They earned it.
It still wouldn't shock me, but still would shack me. Would surprise me. One that you all mentioned though, or maybe it was Nick that mentioned like the opposite of my Chet one. Like if we're talking 12 months from now, like can he even stay healthy? Or like he did stay healthy and he didn't look great. That one might shock me a little bit at this point.
I keep thinking about like I can't get off of Houston in my mind. Like if Houston does anything resembling like proper basketball, that would be shocking. Like Houston makes the playoffs, like not even the play-in. Like the Houston Rockets make the playoffs next year. I'd be shocked.
Didn't Kelly Iko report that if they don't make the playoffs, heads will roll?
Yeah.
I've got a really fun
I better
one.
get a public beheading in Houston. Like
I wanna
French
hear-
Revolution style.
I want to hear how much this would shock you and also how you would feel about it. 12 months from now, you read an article or someone comes back in time, whatever this exercise is. And it says trade deadline deal for Dylan Brooks pushes Thunder beyond first round.
We wouldn't have a podcast anymore.
We wouldn't.
I would make the uncontested defunct.
We have Dylan Brooks at home.
I mean,
that
that's
incredibly knowing. I say knowing, air quotes, knowing Sam Presti. Like I
know
would
him.
I would be shocked. Like that would be like them keeping Myers Leonard whenever they traded for him because they liked his politics. Like that level of shocking. Like that one would shock me.
Yeah.
What's more shocking? Dylan Brooks to OKC or Myers Leonard and Enes Kanter joining the team?
Well, one of them can actually play basketball.
Did you just call him Enos?
Yeah, that's what.
Hey, after all the
It's
dumb shit that
fallback.
guy says, I'm okay if you mispronounce his name.
It's
True.
mispronounced on purpose because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I used to call him.
An homage to our own
I
our
wish
very
I
own
wish I
Taylor.
could say what I. Never mind. What would shock you more?
I mean, definitely the second two.
The second two.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Okay. Well, you were just absolutely flabbergasted about the Dylan Brooks thing. So
Yeah, but again, one of them can play basketball. The other two cannot.
Yeah.
True.
Who'd you say? Cantor and who else?
Myers
Myers
Leonard.
Leonard.
God, what a troublesome duo. Yeah, bring on Dylan Brooks and then go trade for Jonathan Isaac and let's just have a party.
Get
God.
Bridges.
You'll get a
while you're at
Kyrie
it.
while you're at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Kyrie and Myers Leonard have similar philosophies.
Head coach
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Walters and
Well, Silva, time to play the outro.
Hey, my normal one from earlier that I forgot for a while.
my
This
normal one.
can bring us back. Okay, would you be shocked if I say Lou Dort averages less than 10 shots per game
No,
next
I
season?
would hope that's correct.
I would be shocked if he did average less than 10 shots per game.
You think he's going to get
average-
more than 10?
Do I think he's going to get more than 10? Or do I think he's going to take more than 10? Those are
Yeah.
two questions for me. He averages 11.5 for his career. I
what
think
about
he's
last
gonna-
year? 12, 13?
11.8.
Oh, it's actually lower.
My
than
God, he averaged 14.2 in 21-22.
I think he's getting under 10 shots a game next year.
I agree.
If you tell me he gets over 10, that kind of shocks me, considering all the mouths they're trying to feed on this team.
Mouths.
So I think that's a
Hope
pretty
you're
fair
right.
one. Would it? I know we're going a little long here. Maybe I don't want to end on a negative one, so I'm going to say one, and then someone else has to get like a real, like gas me up, positive, like thunder-colored glasses on. So brainstorm, get one. What if someone came from 12 months in the future and said, "Yeah, that Shai season was kind of just a flash in the pan."
would not shock me. Not that he'd be like bad, but if he was back to like a
Yeah.
borderline all-star, I think that's probably, frankly, probably realistic.
I agree.
Yeah, if a headline
It'd also
came out
make
like
me
that though,
sad.
I think it'd have to be worse than just like he barely missed the All-Star game, maybe. But I still would be disappointed. It's a good one.
Well, going from
That's fair.
first team All NBA to missing the All Star game, I
Yeah.
feel like is a
That's fair.
pretty big demotion. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I think the other thing with the All Star game is a lot of it is like narrative driven.
Yeah,
Yep.
we see,
And
we
his-
see a
his-
lot of guys go all NBA and then like not like Trae Young. I mean, I know it's like that's not your model
Yeah.
NBA franchise superstar, but like that dude was an all NBAer.
It's a good comp. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the All Star game is like once your name is listed with some All Stars, like once you're in the conversation, you're in.
Yep.
And so I feel like that's a good sign for Shai. But I don't know how shocked I would be. I'd be mildly shocked, but I'd be very disappointed
I
in
mean,
that one.
flash in the pan could
It'd be
mean
hard to say a
multi-
year from now, no matter what
Fla-
happens.
Flash in the pan could mean he went from first team all NBA to like just missed third team, but was an all star. It could also mean like he was horrible, which I think would be incredibly shocking. But if he didn't make all NBA next year, I would not be surprised at all.
Maybe it's just
At all.
Jada, Giddy, and Chet averaging, like being really good and, taking some of that
Yeah,
away.
having to spread the wealth
Take
out a
some of that
little bit.
away. Yep.
All right, someone finish us off with a good one, with a positive one.
Keontae Johnson makes an all rookie team and is converted to a full time contract by the end of the season.
Ooh, I like that.
That would
all
shock
right.
me a bit considering
That's
the
nice.
roster situation.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
he's
I like
that good, that's a big one.
Yeah, that'd be a good story. And I do feel like you asked for some Thunder colored glasses. I think that would probably be it. Or like Poku becoming like a guy, a real, like this guy's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Poku sounds like a ridiculously huge multi-year
Sign that
contract
extension. Yeah.
I'd be shocked or ridiculously huge, but a decent contract wouldn't surprise me.
This podcast is off the rails.
Someone said this was like, someone in the comments said this one is like peak degenerate summertime pod. I feel like that's pretty accurate. This one's got some quotes for sure.
It does. There's almost too many.
Mostly from you, Jacob.
This might just stay on the live stream.
I said the headlines game from last year was Knicks Mona Lisa. Maybe this one's like my Sistine Chapel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Taylor's best pod's going to be whenever he eats that damn rotisserie chicken.
Oh my gosh, I
I
can't
just want you
wait.
to do that.
Quit putting it
I'm
off.
sorry. I know.
Can we
No, you don't.
schedule,
You keep
can we
putting it
schedule
off.
next Sunday?
Yeah. All right, we can schedule, or do we want to save it for like like getting into the preseason?
I think the dog days of summers and we need some of that. now.
We need to.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay.
You have
So
to
next
eat
Sunday.
a whole rotisserie
Deal.
chicken when it is no less than 105 degrees.
That's
That's a
also fair.
requirement.
Hey, I told you guys I'm gonna have some buffalo over here, have some barbecue, maybe a little ranch.
Man,
Ranch.
saucy
Get a little
boy.
spread going.
You do not get to use utensils though.
Nope.
Right.
This man
Going
is going to
full
be
Game of
covered in
Thrones.
grease and sweat by the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Don't touch your mic at all. It'll be
Or your baby.
ruined.
Touch anything. or
Or your other baby.
Or
Yeah,
your
or the other baby, which apparently is on the way. Don't make the baby after the rotisserie pod.
Not gonna give any to my dog because you know what happened on Wednesday when he was in the
Unbelievable.
stream.
Can we
Oh,
just
God.
title that pod the rotisserie pod?
We should do that.
Well,
We should do that.
And we should come up with like some themes to talk about on the podcast that have to do with rotisseries or chickens.
Mm.
I mean, it's official now. I am.
Next Sunday, we're putting it on the books.
This is happening.
Yep.
the
It's
rotisserie
in.
pod.
I'm in.
As we start to get out of here, if you want to play the outro music, you can, Silva. Any other bet payoffs we have coming up soon? We've got Silva and the Poku picture. We've got Taylor. Taylor's got to eat a burger and a rotisserie chicken. Is there anything else?
I got to run a 1K in an outfit that you choose, but I
I got to
appreciate
choose
it
your outfit.
if we
Kamir's
waited-
got like 6 food-related items that he needs to pay off.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
we
we could wait
diarrhea.
till it's not 100 degrees to put me in
And
a
I have to do
costume.
something very embarrassing for Kamyar when we're in public. Yeah.
What game are we doing? A preseason game for JD to take the charges? And should we speak with the Thunder before we actually do this, so we
No.
don't get kicked out?
No.
Should we get legal representation?
Yeah, I would like to be able to go to Thunder games after.
I'm trying to get him. Like,
you know the
maybe-
meme of
maybe right
Cuba
outside
Gooding
if they
Jr.
call.
getting like escorted out of the building in the
Yes.
cuffs with a smile.
smile.
It's gonna be
Yes.
Silva after taking the charges. Hey Silva, at least when they build a new arena, maybe they won't have your ban still in
Oh,
effect
yeah, it doesn't carry over. Yeah,
Yeah.
That'd
from
be
building
nice.
to building.
It's be 6 years
Amazing.
away.
Thank you guys for listening to the Degenerate Pod. We appreciate you. Hope you're staying cool wherever you're at because it's been hot as hell out there. We will be back with you Wednesday night. I think Wednesday we're going to do a little bit of a redraft. So make sure you tune in for that one. Next Sunday, the Rotisserie Pod. It's going to be a blast. Come and watch Taylor eat a whole ass chicken with his bare hands. It's going to be a fun show. We will be back with you Wednesday. Have a great beginning of your week. We'll talk to you soon. Until then, as always, Thunder up.